have some. So if you
Oh,
move down
okay.
next to Mrs. Walters.
Sounds good.
Mrs. Cooper, we're ready. All right. Slide you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first in-person school board meeting since the beginning, since last March. So thank you very much for all coming out. Yes, this is awesome. So with that, I will call the meeting to order, and we'll start with a salute to the flag. Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Chenoweth, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Mrs. Dennis Clemens?
Here.
Mr. Cormack?
Here.
Mrs. Cohen?
Here.
Mrs. Dolan?
Mrs. Dolan is participating by phone.
Mr. Gerhardt?
Mr. Gerhardt is participating by phone.
Mr. Kraus?
Here?
Mr. Rice?
Here.
Dr. Thompson?
Here.
And Mrs. Walters?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we'll move into public comment. Dr. Bolton, are there any online or live comments that we have received?
There are no
tonight?
live comments related to agenda items, but Mrs. Miller is going to have to tell us whether we have any on our Zoom. We're trying something new tonight.
Okay, so, all right, please.
These are agenda items only.
One moment.
Okay,
while we
one
read the
moment.
policy then.
Okay, according to policy 903, public comment, which is limited to 3 minutes, should be directed to the presiding officer rather than individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. For confidentiality and privacy rights, specific comments regarding particular individuals must be communicated privately to the school board and superintendent via email at psdschoolboard@penridge.org. You want to add something, Mr. Miller?
I think Mrs. Miller is going to call people in from the waiting room. This comment period is for agenda items only as school board policy. At the end of the meeting, there'll be a chance for anyone to comment on matters of public concern. So if these individuals have matters of public concern and not on specific agenda items, then they can stay in the waiting room and be recognized at that time. Is that right?
Correct, they'll come back.
Great.
Mr. Anderson, if your comment pertains to a board agenda item, please state your name, municipality, and the agenda item it pertains to. If it does not, please leave the meeting and re-enter using the same Zoom link at the end of the meeting for the second round of public comment. While making public comment, please remember to mute your live stream. Mr. Anderson is done. So there is one person remaining, so I'll raise her hand. Good evening. If your comment pertains to a board agenda item, please state your name, municipality, and the agenda item it pertains to. If it does not, please leave the meeting and re-enter using the same Zoom link at the end of the meeting for the second round of public comment. While making public comment, please remember to mute your live stream. We just need you to unmute your mic, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. And with that, we'll move into the President's report. School boards are purposely apolitical. There are no Democrats, no Republicans, no independents, and no libertarians, just volunteers, working on behalf of the plurality of voters who elected them to serve on this board. Boards are designed as a governance model, meaning the members are not directly involved in the day-to-day functioning of the district, do not create budgets, do not recommend or write curriculum. This is the role of the administration and the professional staff. 9 individuals from this community volunteered to serve on this board, a non-paying position with no benefits. Each member brings their own unique educational background, experience level, and opinions. 9 individuals volunteered to sacrifice time away from their families, volunteered to spend their own money and campaign. They have been voted offered by a plurality of voters, volunteered to spend countless hours away from their families, reading documents, studying proposals, attending meetings, and attending school events. No one member has any more or less power than any other member. The board acts as a collective on the recommendations of the administration. The members freely give their time and talents for the greater good of the students, educators, and residents which we serve. Over the past year, I have seen some of the most vile, rude, degrading, profanity-laden comments from individuals inside and outside the community. I am sure your mother would be proud if you speak to your children in this manner. For what purpose? On this board and the administration by the rage mob and keyboard warriors, coupled with onerous right-to-know requests for information completely unrelated to the governance of this district, are costing the taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours in lost productivity. At a time where the revenue streams of this district have declined significantly, this is time and money which the district could be using for the betterment of the students. Again, for what purpose and to what end? Borrowing a few words from our president's inaugural address, let us listen to one another, hear one another, see one another, show respect to one another. Politics need not be a raging fire destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured. We will always welcome respectful, constructive dialogue for the betterment of the educational process and the district. The administration and this board have important work to do on behalf of your children, the taxpayers, and the district employees. Dr. Bolton, over to you. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. Mrs. Miller, is Mrs. Devine on Zoom? If you would please join me in welcoming Mrs. Karen Devine through Zoom. Mrs. Devine is the Director of Member Services of the Pennsylvania School Board Association, or PSBA. She joins us this evening to provide an update on upcoming virtual and complimentary events that are hosted by PSBA. Mrs. Devine, welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here tonight with you. Good evening to everyone. I wanted to let you know that Amy Goldman, your sectional advisor and also vice president for the Radnor Township School Board, sends her very best. Often she likes to join me for these meetings virtually, but tonight she did have a conflict. So she regrets that she can't be with me. I want to thank you for all you do as school directors, and thank you for your membership at PSBA. And I just wanted to summarize a few services and upcoming events. We offer energy solutions. It can help school districts save in their energy costs, and just contact me for a free energy assessment. We also provide equity services. We have many resources on our website. Also, we offer complimentary board self-assessments. And in addition to our policy services, we offer human resource services that include job description services, compensation studies, and staffing studies. And recently, PSBA launched the Keystone Center for Charter Change, led by Larry Feinberg. He's board president in Haverford Township School District, and he is director. Just recently, we started sending all of the members the PA Charter Change Roundup newsletter. You should be receiving that each day, and if you are not, let me know. I will share my email address as I close. Today was our Advocacy Day. It was virtual, and our focus was on charter school change, mandate relief, and state funding to include the impact of charter payments on districts, special education costs, and how federal dollars should not be used to backfill the state budget. See our new PA Charter Change website as well, and you can find that when you go to PSBA's website. Now, here are some upcoming events. Be sure to join us and other school directors from across the state for the monthly exchange. It's every third Thursday of the month. And then the school board secretary's monthly exchange is the second Thursday of each month. And the weekly buzz for board leaders, it's the president, the vice president, the liaison, is every Tuesday. And all of these are virtual, they're complimentary, and they begin at 12:30 and they run until 1:30. Also, our virtual sectional meetings are coming up. March 30th, social and emotional leadership. March 31st, perspectives on public education with Governor Tom Wolf. And April 1st, digital citizen and leadership. All of these are complimentary. They run from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And Amy Goldman will be at each of these as well. She hopes to see your board members there. Finally, NSBA's virtual conference is April 8th through the 10th, and there is a fee for that. Everything else I mentioned is complimentary. So I did share a lot of information tonight. If you have any questions, please email me at karen.devine@psba.org. And I want to thank you so much for your time tonight. I want to thank you for all you do as school directors and administrators during these most challenging times. All that you do for your community and for your students. We thank you. I hope you have a great evening.
Mrs. Miller, thank you. School board members, that was a lot. I was given a summary in advance, so I will check my notes versus what she said and send it to all the school board members, as well as with Ms. Devine's contact information should you have any questions. Okay? PSBA does a lot of good service for us. So, are we okay with the Zoom then?
Good.
All right. So hopefully, as you know, March is Women's History Month. And across Penn School District, we celebrate Women's History Month in our classrooms. Two examples that I want to share that have been shared with me recently. One from middle school at South Middle School. Miss Maneely and Mrs. Jones have put together a bulletin board highlighting important females through history. And they've also then been taking one of those females and sharing an announcement each day about a historical female figure and her contributions to society. Here at the high school, Mrs. Godshell's students are celebrating female directors in her film class all month as they do that during their class time. Next, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Matt Peitzman, pictured above, on being selected for the International Technology and Engineering Educators Association, or ITEEA, 2021 Teacher Excellence Award. The Teacher Excellence Award is one of the highest honors given to technology and engineering education classroom teachers, and is presented in recognition of their outstanding contribution to the profession and to their students. The Teacher Excellence Award provides public recognition on a local, state level through the Technology and Engineering Education Association of Pennsylvania, and is presented at the annual conference. Mr. Peitzman joins an outstanding group of professionals who impact their students' lives and technological literacy development. ITEEA only selects one teacher a year to receive that honor. Mr. Peitzman has worked at Penn Ridge for 8 years now and teaches technology education and STEM courses. Primarily, he teaches electric guitar building, woodworking 1, Intro to Tech Design, and Intro to Tech MP. He is also the Penn Ridge Guitar Building Club Advisor. Congratulations to Mr. Peitzman on this prestigious award. Do you have your tickets yet? April 8th through 11th, Penn Ridge High School brings to the stage and to the pit for the first time, I think ever, Disney's Beauty and Beast as their spring 2021 musical production. You don't want to miss out on the magic, the music, and the joy of this fairy tale brought to life. There are tickets available both in person and for live stream, and they can be purchased online. If you just go to the Penn Ridge High School homepage, the easiest way to get that is to go to www.penridge.org, hit schools in the upper right-hand corner, and look for Penn Ridge High School. Their performing arts section is there with a link to all of the tickets. Finally tonight, we have an honor that is long overdue. That between weather and COVID, we've been trying to do this for a few months. So I'm very glad that we're able to do this tonight. Tonight we're joined by the women's soccer team captains and seniors and the coaching staff to congratulate them on a historic season. So ladies and coaches, if you'd start working your way down. I assume many of you know that the Lady Rams won the league, the district, and the state championship this season. In addition to those honors, Coach Anderson was selected as the Pennsylvania Soccer Coaches Association Coach of the Year. I thought it best if you heard about their season from them, so I believe a couple of the students, I don't know whether the seniors or captains are going to speak, so if you go over there, we'll make sure the microphone's on for you. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, well, to start, our team motto this year was to make it count, and through an extremely unpredictable season and the events that occurred, I think that we were very fortunate to be able to accomplish that this year. Like we said, we won the conference, the district, and state championship, which is extremely well done, and I just cannot thank our team enough. I feel like we did a really good job this year in an extremely mentally and physically grueling season. And so our team was super close this year, and I cannot just thank the girls enough for that. I love these girls more than anything. And so, yeah, I just think that it was very well done, and looking back on it, I don't think we would have done anything differently. It's still kind of surreal to me.
Could you introduce yourself so that they know who's speaking?
Oh yeah, I'm Leah Malone. I'm currently a junior. I played forward and I was number 28. And I scored the game-winning goal.
I'm Maddie Angelo. I'm a senior, and I was a captain this past year. I just wanted to take a minute to thank the community for this overwhelming support that they gave us this past year, between the younger youth players that came to our games and everyone else that was there. We couldn't have done it without them, and especially in this year of COVID, with ticket sales being limited and stuff, we still had a great turnout for all of our games, and we couldn't have done it without them.
Leah, Maddie, ladies, congratulations. Would it be okay, Mr. Krause, if we take a picture?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, great.
Yep, okay.
Watch your head, get up. So you guys kind of come around the corner and make sure we can see the trophies in your blank. You got one, Mr. Babb? Ladies, congratulations. Thanks for coming. Mr. Kraus, that is the end of the superintendent's report. I do have to recognize 2 donations this evening. First, I'd like to recognize the donation of a Raspberry Pi computer from an anonymous source that will be used in the computer science department at the high school. Second, we'd like to thank the donation of an iMac computer from Miss Dana Winningars that will be used throughout the school district. So thank you to both of those for their donations. That'll benefit our students from a STEM standpoint. So we appreciate that. That is the end of the superintendent's report, and there is no student liaison report this evening.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Fulton. Congratulations, ladies. They've already left.
Oh, they did.
So, we'll move right into the consent calendar. So, I would like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar listed as items A through H.
I'll second. Oh, left Dave.
Seconded by Mr. Rice. Questions or comments from board members? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes 9-0. Thank you. And committee reports, activities committee, Mrs. Collin.
One moment, Mrs. Cohen. With the approval of the personnel report, there is one administrative appointment, and the person is here tonight, so I want to take an opportunity to recognize her. I want to recognize Ms. Kara Gurish. Ms. Kara Gurish. So Ms. Gurish, if you could stand up and wave to everybody. Mrs. Gurish tonight was just appointed as house principal for the class of 2024. She's currently working with the freshman class and will be working through them, with them through the 4 years that they're here at Pembroke High School. Mrs. Gurish started as an interim position in November for a house principal who retired at that time. Went through an exhaustive process, and we found the best candidate. So Mrs. Gurish is awesome at what she does. She is a great instructional leader and is wonderful both with students and with parents, and we're just thrilled to continue to have her in this role at the high school. So Kara, congratulations and welcome. Thank you, Mrs. Cole.
Okay, the activities committee did not meet in March, but we do have the revised district calendar for the 2020-2021 Pembroke school year. So I would make a motion to approve that amended 2020-2021 Pembroke school district calendar.
Second it. I don't hear. I didn't hear anybody.
Okay. Seconded by Mr. Kraus. Questions or comments from board members?
I just want to clarify why we're approving the 2021 school calendar in March. It is our tradition that once, hopefully, the snow is gone, we finalize the calendar with all of the snow that had happened through the school year. And so all of the days that were encountered during the school year, this finalizes that. It finalizes the final day of school, which remains at June 11th. Graduation has been finalized for June 15th. We have plans for graduation both at Lehigh and here at Hellman, depending on what we're allowed to do. And so we're going to continue to monitor the situation, and we're going to maximize the number of people who can attend with our graduates, because they and their families deserve that, as well as have opportunities to live stream for anyone else who is not able to attend. So more details will be coming as we know what is possible either at Lehigh or here at Hellman. So that is why we're doing this. This is our annual approval in March of the final school calendar for the year.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, seeing none, motion passes 9-0. Mrs. Cullen.
Thank you. The next activities committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 6th. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Curriculum Committee, Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. The curriculum committee met on March 1st. We have 2 items for approval this evening. The first one is the approval of the pre-districting for Cedar Ridge Community.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Cullen. Do you want to provide any narrative around that?
The phrase redistricting scares people in a community, so we're very careful to say pre-districting. This does not impact any families that are currently in the district. The Cedar Ridge development are the townhomes that are going in on Ridge Road by the new airport complex and kind of behind Revivals. And so the way the district line is drawn, that is the line that the townhouses would be split between 2 elementary schools and 2 middle schools, which means side-by-side neighbors could literally attend different schools. And so because there are no families in those yet, we took a look at the lines and made the decision to draw the line a different way and pre-district so that all of those students will go to West Rock Elementary School and will go to South Middle School. And both of those schools have room for all of those townhouses that are happening. And so we've communicated that. Once this gets approved, we will communicate that with the townhouse so that they can tell family which Penridge schools they'll be attending.
Thank you, Dr. Bolton. Other questions or comments from board members? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Mrs. Walters.
Okay, and the next item is a motion to approve the budget for the career pathways proposal.
I'll second that.
I'll make a motion.
Seconded by Mrs. Cullen. Questions or comments from board members? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Mrs. Walters.
Okay, and our next curriculum committee meeting is on Tuesday, April 6th.
Thank you very much. Facilities Committee. Facilities Committee did meet on February 8th. We have not met in March. And I have one motion for the table here. That is a motion to approve obsolete items listed A through C.
I'll second it.
Everybody's quiet tonight.
Dave would be on top of that.
Yeah. Seconded by Mr. Rice. Questions or comments from board members? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. The next Facilities Committee meeting is scheduled for April 12th. Finance Committee, Mrs. Banis-Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus.
You're not on.
Oops. Hold on a second, my screen is not working. All right, I'll just use this. No, it won't let me open the. It was working a second ago, but it just stopped. Froze. Okay. The first motion is to approve the Upper Bucks County Technical School 2021-2022 budget.
I'll second that. Seconded by Mr. Kraus. Questions or comments from board members? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Mrs. Banis-Clemens.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve contracts A through D.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Thompson. Questions or comments from board members? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Mrs. Banis-Clemens.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the student activity account for the high school class of 2024.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Walters. Questions or comments from board members? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Mrs. Banis-Clemens.
Thank you. The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 12th.
Thank you very much. Policy Committee, Dr. Thompson.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Pull it down a little bit.
May I?
Just pull it down.
Okay. How's that? Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Kraus. I would like to, the policy committee met on March 8th. The minutes are posted in board docs. I would like to move a motion to approve policies for first reading, A through N. Do you want me to read them? Just A through N.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Rice. Questions or comments from board members? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. The next policy committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 4th.
Okay. Excellent. Personnel Committee, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. The committee met on March 1st, and again, the notes are in Board Docs. I'd like to first make a motion to approve the cafeteria plan renewal.
Okay. Seconded by Mrs. Cullen. It's hard with
I know.
the masks to figure out where it's coming from. So seconded by Mrs. Cullen. Questions or comments from board members? You'd like to?
Well, I just want to clarify that this has nothing to do with our cafeteria. So this is a flexible benefit plan for our employees. So it's something that is in place, but it is being updated for our employees. So that's the term cafeteria plan.
Thank you, Dr. Bolton. All right. No other questions or comments from board members? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. I'd like to make a motion to approve Madison National Life Insurance Long-Term Disability Renewal.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Cullen.
Everybody's quiet, so.
Questions or comments from board members? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus, and this is my favorite part. I would like to make a motion to approve tenure recommendation for the following individuals: Ashley Bierman, Laura Crawley, and Jennifer Hurley.
Second it.
Seconded by Mr. Rice. Questions or comments from board members? I would just like to comment that it's great when we can get to this point and offer tenure to the professional staff who serve our students and our children every day. They do a great job. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Back to you, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. The next Personnel Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 6th.
Okay. IU, Mrs. Bamis Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus.
Microphone.
Your microphone, please. Thank you.
We'll get used to this setup again.
We have to retrain you, don't we?
So the Bucks County Intermediate Unit met on March 16th. I have a few highlights, and then I will send everyone the information so you can see all of the wonderful things that are happening at the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. The first thing I wanted to highlight is some speech therapy news. Shelley Mooney, a Bucks IU speech therapist in the non-public speech department, used books such as The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats and Brown, The Many Shades of Love by James and Moore to increase awareness of cultural diversity. Articles from ReadWorks such as John Francis, The Planet Walker, and Matthew Henson Goes to the Arctic were favorite selections too. Broadening the character choices is important all year and especially during Black History Month. The Celebrate Black History game board was helpful for learning about famous people now and throughout history. The books, articles, and game materials were used to target language and articulation goals. Near President's Day, students held presidential face masks and asked each other questions. It was exciting to learn that some students love history and social studies. We had a presentation from the Bucks IU Brain Steps team and brain injury program. The statewide Brain Steps is funded through the Pennsylvania Department of Health and the PA Department of Education and implemented by the Brain Injury Association of Pennsylvania to support all intermediate units in Pennsylvania since 2007. The Brain Steps program connects the medical, rehabilitation, education sectors and families following student K-12 acquired brain injury. ABIs, acquired brain injuries, can cause cognitive, physical, socio-emotional, and behavioral impairments that impact classroom performance and learning. The Bucks IU is looking to bring the comprehensive concussion education team program to students and athletes throughout the county at all of the different schools. Some fine motor skills. In the beginning of 2019-20 academic school year, Bucks IU Special Education Division was awarded a generous $10,000 grant from Foundation's Community Partnership to be used towards programs supporting the development of fine motor skills in students. One of the program's great successes was the creation of fine motor skills home kits, and we're proud to announce that another round of kits, along with detailed instruction sheets, were created and distributed. Thanks to the grant money. And the last thing that I was going to highlight is the Art on the Move program. As many of you know, we have a lot of the bomb paintings around the district already. The Bucks County Intermediate Unit has a long tradition of celebrating the arts. This tradition started in 1949 when a brilliant, forward-thinking Bucks County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Charles Bohm, and a passionate and prolific Bucks County artist, Mr. Walter Emerson Baum, wanted to make sure that all Bucks County students, regardless of background, had the opportunity to benefit from the rich cultural and artistic heritage in which they found themselves. To do this, Dr. Bohm and Mr. Baum established the Traveling Art Gallery, a library of Bucks County original art from which schools could borrow for their own temporary exhibits for the benefit of their students. In the present day, the Bucks County Intermediate Unit oversees the art collection established by Dr. Bohm and Mr. Baum, and continues to celebrate the spirit of the Traveling Art Gallery by hosting multiple galleries and its significant Art on the Move program, the present-day version of the original Traveling Art Gallery. The Art on the Move program brings selected pieces of the Bucks IU art collection to the Bucks County schools and allows students to work with and learn from these original pieces of art. There are 11 collections available, and each collection consists of 6 paintings. The collections are loaned for a period of 6 to 8 weeks and are accompanied by a pre-K to 12 interdisciplinary curriculum. There's a process to accommodate both a face-to-face and virtual option for schools, and that's being implemented in the website development. So stay tuned for that, and the schools can sign up for that on the website and take advantage of that program. So the Bucks County Intermediate Unit is scheduled to meet on Tuesday, April 20th.
Thank you, Mrs. Banis Clemens. Upper Bucks County Technical School, Mr. Cormack.
Mr. Kraus, thank you. Couple things here. Oops, sorry. How's that, Dave? Good. The school has offered their staff 24 members with vaccines. 25 are waiting, and 14 need to fill out surveys. The knock-knee testing will start April 12th through the 16th, the written portion, and April 26th through the 30th will be a performance scenario. The Cosmetology program, for all you folks that are interested in having your hair appointments done, David, you might think about that, will be open Thursdays and Fridays at 12 o'clock. Please call for an appointment. And those who have a sweet tooth, please be aware, we're really proud to announce that the restaurant for lunch, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays is now open. You can also call the bakery for baked goods for takeout. So the students are working hard in the community's behalf. Take advantage of it because their treats are very sweet and they're delicious. So, Mr. Kraus, that is my report. Please be aware that we're meeting on Thursday, April 15, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Cormack.
Mr. Kraus, can I just,
Yes,
I just wanted to add a connection between the IU, the tech school, and Penridge. So Dr. Hoffman had shared that both the tech school and Penridge sent food over to thank all of the staff that were at the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, vaccinating all of our teachers, and it was greatly appreciated. So our culinary kids helped make food that was sent over from the tech school, and the district also sent over food from here. So all three of us working together to help with that. So I just wanted to bring attention to that.
Thank you, Mrs. Banis Clemens. Penridge Community Educational Foundation, Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. PCEF met on Saturday, March 6th. We continue to work out plans for the lovely evening, which we are hosting, I believe, here on April 27th. But there will be some guidelines and things that we will put out there. So we're continuing to gather sponsorships. If you are listening and you're a local business owner or just a family that would like to donate, it's a wonderful cause. PCEF puts funding back into our classrooms for special grant money for our teachers. And we also discussed the spelling bee, the Bucks Montgomery Regional Spelling Bee, and I believe one of the winners was a Penridge Middle School student.
That is correct.
I did not catch the name. Do you have the name?
Yeah,
Dr.
I
Bowman?
did. Central, but I don't, no, we'll have to get that to you.
Central, we'll have to blast that out when
Yeah.
we get the specifics. And our next meeting for PCF is on Saturday, April 3rd.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Walters. Okay, is there any old business?
Mr. Gerhart?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I forgot to unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch base on a comment that came up at the last board meeting. There was a comment referencing a school board member's daughter and work that was dancing on the rock and some issues with that. I just want to be clear, apparently that person was referencing me because of the student that was riding on the rock has the same last name as me, but we are in fact not related at all. I do have a daughter, but she is younger to even know what the Penridge Rock is or even how to spray paint it. So I just want to be clear that that was in no relation to me, and it is somewhat concerning that somebody would input that comment without doing the proper diligence and getting the right information. And I believe we've come to find out that whoever submitted that comment did so with a fake email address, and the person is untraceable to even address them specifically, so I could let them know that they had some bad information or anything like that. So it's unfortunate. It's disheartening to know that somebody would attempt to do that to try to maybe stir up some controversy or something like that. I genuinely hope that it was just somebody who had bad information, but my daughter would never and has never been to the Penridge Rock to paint on it. She is not old enough to even understand that, and I have no relation to that student that did it. So I just wanted to kind of reference that and acknowledge that, and just make sure that we're clear and that the community is aware and has the right information from that. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Mr. Gerhart.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gerhart. Is there any new business? Okay. So. Okay. Dr. Bolton?
Thank you, Mr. Krause. Just wanted to provide an update as spring sports began. Dr. Barczyk and I were working in our offices this afternoon, and lacrosse was in full voice. It's always good to be able to hear the noise that's up on the hill as the spring sports start. We're asked to clarify our health and safety plan in terms of our athletes. The Suburban 1 League has met multiple times with representatives from PIAA, which is the State Athletic Association, to develop their recommendations and their guidelines. I just want to let you know that similar to the fall, that athletes that are in exertion, that are outside, so the majority of our sports in the spring are outside, and those athletes that are in exertion are not utilizing masks as they were not in the fall. They obviously are during coming and going, or if they are on the sidelines and they are resting or there's a team meeting and that they are not able to appropriately socially distance, then they do, as our health and safety plan calls for, to utilize masks at that point. Our volleyball team, which is the only inside, we do have male volleyball, men's volleyball in the spring from a gym usage standpoint, and they are currently using masks during competition because they are inside. Okay, so just wanted to clarify that. There were lots of questions about it because sometimes you see athletes with masks and sometimes you don't, and that's why, because sometimes they're required to have masks on and sometimes that they're not in terms of that piece. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bolton. So we're going to move into the second comment period, but as we do, I'd like to do this first. Any written comments that have come in?
There are no written comments.
There are none?
The face-
Okay.
face first.
And then we'll move into the Zoom, and then we'll do anybody anybody in attendance. Anybody in attendance who would like to speak at the second comment period, I ask that you keep your mask up and speak clearly while you're at the microphone.
While we're waiting to start, I just did want to comment on the health and safety plan. If we could, because I had asked a question about it, but didn't get the information to go back and look, if we could go back to Dr. Dansker perhaps and just check in with him to clarify a few things. I know that some schools are allowing, within the suburban one school district, that they are allowing indoor volleyball to not wear the masks, and also for recess for younger children. I would just like to clarify with him again, if we can, consult with him. I'll say I did not get a chance because of the time to give him a call or whatever, but if we can do that, I'd appreciate it.
Mrs. Miller, you ready?
There is no one in the waiting room?
Okay. There is no one in the waiting room.
Why don't we leave that up just in case, but then move on to face-to-face comment?
Okay. So, all right. So the first person signed in is Diane Herring.
Diane Herring, Hilltown Township. I'm here tonight in response to last month's public comments. In contradiction to the claims made last month about being silenced, the community has never been silenced from speaking, but has held to existing policies. If folks can recall, I personally had public disagreements with Mrs. Cullen over the years from the same podium. But there were over decisions made and votes taken. It was, however, never silenced when I spoke within the parameters of the policy. I know we're seemingly having issues with this debate. I've listened to the public comment in last month's board meeting multiple times. The repeated claim seems to be that she needs to either be removed or quit. Have I nailed the why for these public comments? Those comments were personal attacks not related to the educational institution that is Penridge School District. Why? Because I did not hear one with an actual board vote she made that was cited as the basis of those comments. I have seen press releases on social media confirming these speeches will continue unabated, but yet again, no mention of proof of the claim that her personal life has had a negative direct impact. Where's the proof for these assertions? Do you have a vote to cite, directly change a curriculum? Has it impacted our students on a daily basis? Which vote was racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, sexist? Please share with me what vote. One comment in particular I must address on a personal level, a very personal level. It perhaps is the most uninformed, dishonest representation of a factual situation that I've ever heard in the past 12 years of attending meetings. Jews do not feel safe here. Jews are being disenfranchised. To the Jews in town, let's discuss the direct impact Joan Cullen has had. This is the point where I actually provide quantifiable evidence of a direct impact she's had. The school calendar. Following the departure of Dr. Yarnell and Mrs. Yardley of the board presidency, suddenly both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur were an agenda item to be listed as observed holidays on the calendar. Where were you for years when I stood here and advocated for both holidays to be on the calendar? Now you're scared and disenfranchised? She's a vote that created the recognition in the calendar. The one accused of inspiring Jews to feel safe, she voted for both to be on the calendar as an observed holiday. Why didn't you stand up years back, before Mrs. Cullen was ever on the board? Where were you Jews then, when the district was approving a fundraiser on Kol Nidre, and I challenged that 12 years ago at a board meeting? To the Penridge Jews, You have not done your research, and you condoned and allowed your religious faith to be prosecuted and prostituted like it was last month. You chose not to speak for yourselves, and you allowed your faith to be used by someone else in this manner, and it was absolutely disgusting. To the community member who authored that public statement and used my faith to assert that a Nazi sympathizer sits on the school board, no Nazi allows their own child to accept their classmate and friend's invitation to attend his bar mitzvah, especially the 4.5-hour religious service and the kiddush in the temple, not just the party in the country club. Nazis don't give their children permission to attend, given the whole murder them into extinction premise of Nazism. So please, whoever steps up to this table and wants to discuss what has and has not been done to the Jews in this town, please get an education and get informed.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker, Paul Clymer.
I'm going to talk about Dr. Seuss. My name is Paul Clymer, as you heard. I'm a taxpayer. I live in West Rock Hill Township. I'm a Penridge graduate. It was a serious blunder when the inclusion of Dr. Seuss books and proclaiming the annual Read Across America program when they were canceled. I suppose cancel culture struck again. As a former state representative, I was invited routinely by the Penridge, Quakertown, and Palisades school districts to participate in the annual Dr. Seuss Read Across America program. I was invited by their elementary schools. Wearing the traditional long red and white Dr. Seuss hat, I eagerly engaged with the smiling and talented young students that were nesting around the chair I was seated in. Occasionally, a student would interrupt and with a serious demeanor relate how the Dr. Seuss story was playing out in his home, in his family. A classic picture of innocence and wonder. Dr. Seuss books usually had a moral implication. The one I have brought with me from my home library is called Horton Wears a Hoop. Horton Wears a Hoop. And part of it reads, and I quote, I simply must help them, because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. Horton is an elephant and has befriended a tiny insect colony called WHO, W-H-O. When the very tiny insect colony is in trouble, the mayor of this colony cries out to Horton, please, will you stick by us? We just heard Horton say, a person's a person, no matter how small. Now Horton responds again. Of course, Horton answered, of course I will stick. I'll stick by you small folks through thin and through thick. What I just read is a simple yet powerful message for these young developing minds to grasp. Simply helping others who are unable to help and defend themselves, and preaching about friendship and loyalty. These are the rolling stones of character building. I am a Dr. Seuss fan. His books are timely and enjoyable reading for all elementary school students. Do not allow the voices of division and animosity remove Dr. Seuss from our schools or from our public libraries. They are an important building block for good citizenship. I thank you.
All right, so Next speaker is Christine Baticki, and I apologize if I
Good evening, my name is Christine Baticki. I'm a resident of Hilltown Township, Percy. My son is a student at Central Middle School. He's been thrilled to be back in school this school year. The other night we were having a conversation at dinner and talking about why students were still struggling academically this year. And the opinion that he shared was that masks and social distancing were impeding learning. And the personal example he shared was that in science class, the number of experiments that have been conducted has been drastically reduced this year compared to a normal year as a result of distancing, and they're not able to touch things and learn with their hands. So my question was if there are any updates regarding masks and social distancing, the return of dances, musicals at the middle school in light of some of the new guidelines we've heard released in the news. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Announcements? Oh, anything electronically before we move on?
There's one person in the waiting list. Perfect.
Okay. You wanna- yeah. 1 second.
Mr. McClendon, can you hear me? Okay, Mr. McClendon, can you hear me? Sir?
Yes.
Okay, you have your 3 minutes, consistent with policy 903. If you're ready to speak, sir.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you.
Sir, you have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay.
State your name
My
and
name is
municipality.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Ross McLennan, Milltown resident. Transparency on our school board is important to keep board members accountable and to inform the school district, parents, and taxpayers of ongoing activities. The Pennsylvania School Board Association provides a method for board assessment. As a school board director candidate, I have asked for information on this process from the School Board Association, and I encourage parents and taxpayers to go to the PBSA site to ask for information on this process. I have not been able to find in board docs the Penridge self-assessments. I would like to have a copy of your board's most current self-assessment. Thank you, Ross McLean.
Yeah, I need the exercise. Clearly.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll move into announcements.
I have an announcement, Mr. Kraus.
All right. Dr. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. I prepared this written statement to announce an important personal decision. First, I want to say it has been my pleasure to serve as a member of this school board since 2018. During my very short service, very short, I have seen this district grow and change in leaps and bounds, improved instructional outcomes, increased student support services, a balanced budget, debt refinancing and planning to a debt drop, a glowing credit rating, reorganization and implementation of leadership to leverage our resources and focus on long-term educational and fiscal planning. As your most recent personnel chair, it has been my honor to partake in the approval of contracts for individuals that have contributed so much of themselves to our district and our students. And I would like to give thanks and recognize the following dedicated individuals and try to do so without crying my appreciation. Dr. Kathy Scheid, Dr. Anthony Rybarczyk, Dr. Sherry Durr, Mr. Sean Delbert, a genius, Miss Jackie McHale, Mr. Stephen Cashman, Mrs. Nancy Chenoweth, Mrs. Diane Miller, and our beloved Dr. David Bolton. I encourage this board, the district staff, and members of the public to support with confidence these individuals who have proven themselves dedicated to the well-being of our children and the district whole. I want to speak now as an individual, and these comments that I am about to say do not reflect the opinions of other board members. I am very concerned about some comments made by members of the public recently and over the summer that have suggested that the school board itself and the members on it were not sufficiently diverse. First of all, the people sitting here were elected by the public or appointed by those who were entrusted to do so after being elected by the public. You can only elect people who actually run for office. So if you're looking to change what you see as diverse, well, then you need to start there. However, I want to address what I see as an error in assessing diversity by the observation of appearances. Diversity practice, in tandem with equity and inclusion, should investigate more than appearances, and as such, the act of dividing people into categories by how they appear is the very antithesis of a diversity practice. Diversity practice includes perspectives, experiences, and opinions of others, shaped from a variety of backgrounds based on things you cannot always see. Things like religion, socioeconomic class, capabilities, disabilities, health needs, health triumphs, political beliefs, social backgrounds, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, and that list can go on and on. Most of what makes a group of individuals collectively diverse cannot be seen, nor can it be sufficiently represented in something like, say, a district video to ensure that the district, its staff, its student body, or even the school board itself is sufficiently diverse. Diversity practice encourages collaboration, where diverse perspectives are leveraged from experiences in life and values shaped or learned along the way. I will share mine. My perspectives and opinions were born out of my experience of being raised by a single mother who was abandoned by her husband, from depending myself on the welfare system, from being a single mom myself, from working full-time, going to school full-time, and pushing through 11 years of education to earn from a high school diploma a doctoral degree in just 11 years while balancing my life along the way. It was born out of being a survivor of abandonment, abuse, and cancer. It was born out of identifying as an LGBTQ person and as a person who is a mother of a gender-neutral individual who was partnered with another gender-neutral individual. It was born out of being a parent of an Asperger's person. It was born out of my struggle with hearing and central processing disorder, which is why I often ask you to be quiet in the committee meetings. If one is only going to look at me, that is, only my appearance is observed, then one might make the assumption that I can only offer what the rest of the people that look like me offer. Then the investigative element of diversity practice is thwarted, and if that is allowed, I fear equity and inclusion will never be realized. Since diversity practice includes sharing diverse opinions, well, it would be hypocritical to insist that a person with an opposing opinion be excluded. And to that point, and I have said this before, Board members do not suspend their rights, nor are they denied their rights to express their opinions outside their official capacities. And to that same point, members of the public have frequently, and sometimes en masse, enacted their rights to oppose the personal activities and opinions of more than one school board member over the years. I will say on that matter, it appears to me that the work sessions that occurs in the committee meetings are under-attended, while the board meetings have become the venue of choice for making voices be heard. And in my estimation, it reflects that there is very little interest in what work the board is actually doing, and much more interest in using this public venue as an opportunity to sound out against board members' diverse backgrounds and viewpoints. Nonetheless, enacting one's rights, when it is established as an actual right and not some misunderstanding of what is a right, when enacted under the First Amendment of the Constitution, guarantees that one may do so without consequence, including the consequence of being pulled from a committee or removed as vice president. That is why they're called inalienable rights. Finally, I wish it to be known, and this is very important, that I have found Mrs. Joan Cullen to be an esteemed colleague on this board. She has served the students in this community faithfully, and she has personally embraced me and my diverse background. I trust her implicitly. Despite the constant onslaught of criticism, Mrs. Cullen remained focused on her duties and commitment to this district, its students, staff, administration, and the board. Her commitment and her passion are why I personally recommended her to other board members for the role of vice president in 2019, why I nominated her for the same in 2020, and if I had the opportunity, I would be more than honored to nominate her for board president in 2021. No offense, Mr. Kress. She has proven herself to be worthy and capable of that position. Unfortunately, I will not have that opportunity. Due to personal circumstances, it is necessary for me to relocate outside the school district. It has been my deepest honor to serve this district, who have for many years served me and my 2 children. Effective immediately, I hereby relinquish and resign my official capacity of school board director. God bless the United States of America, this great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and this Penridge School District. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to reluctantly make a motion to accept the resignation of Dr. Thompson.
It does.
Seconded by Mrs. Cullen. All in favor? No. Questions or comments from board members? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion passes 9-0. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. And with that, thank you for your service. With that, I'll make the motion to adjourn. Oh, one more thing. Hold on. I have another announcement. Hold on. Hold on. An executive session was held on March 8th to discuss legal matter, and following tonight's meeting to discuss a legal matter. The next school board meeting will be held on Monday, April 26th. And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Seconded by Mr. Rice. All in favor?
Aye.